But with that said, lanterns. I am so happy that this worked out timing wise, as I am sure you are an aficionado of sorts of things that are Green Lantern. What is it? I am so excited to see this. I'm very curious to see what your thoughts are with this very first episode, because it's not a lot to go on. It was only an hour long. A lot happened in that hour, though.
So much happened.
It's who, aside from Jon Stewart, are there any other characters within the Green Lantern universe that you might want to see in this show?
So, as far as for me, I would love to see Jessica Cruz, and then also Sojourner Mullen, so Joe. And part of the reason Jessica Cruz was a character that I pitched for in the workshop. Yeah, like I had a short story ready for her, and just because the reason I relate to Cruz a lot is because of her fight with anxiety, right? So like if somebody who has dealt with anxiety, fighting, anxiety, depression, and that she has really appealed to me as a character, and I just love her. I love her story. I love her as a character. And Joe, she is amazing. Joe is like one of my favorite Green Lantern stories of all time is Far Sector. Part of the reason is because of the creative team. N.K. Jemisin, I've been a big fan of her books for a while. Jamal Campbell is amazing. But also it is a genre mashup. It is a murder mystery meets an intergalactic, like a space opera. So those are two characters that I hope that we get to see, in some form or fashion in this first season or future iterations of this like new DC universe that they're building.
Yeah, oh wait a minute, Tafara ITV is in the chat. Is this true? Season 1 of My Adventures? Are you?
Yeah, they're making a spinoff.
Shut the fuck up! Wait a minute! I didn't know about.
I think she's going to be in high school. I do need to play catch up with My Adventures of Superman, but I know that this is a spinoff that's going to be set in that same universe.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Well, shit. Now I gotta watch fucking Superman, and I'm not even into that motherfucker. I'm not even gonna hold you like that. He's not my favorite DC character by any. But I will say I did like the first season. I have to catch up on it.
I started giving Superman a little bit more grace when they started treating him more human, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of him just being this milk-fed, green grass, red, white, and blue.
Like you're on a planet that's headed down the same path as your home planet. You should have a little bit more grit and a little bit more anger towards it. You should have a little bit more Magneto in you. You don't got to be full destroy everybody. But so when they started, I'm not a Superman fan, but I can appreciate that they're treating him like somebody with like their own thought process.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Lantern, unrelated but related, Aaron Pierre's arms in his first scene.
I'm so sorry.
I just needed a moment of silence for that because I saw that one arm.
Oh, look. I'm trying to be respectful.
I had to say it. I'm good now. I'm good. It was said.
Oh, no. I'm going to be worse. So I'm trying to just stay quiet. Absolutely quiet. I'm just sitting back.
Okay. Tell me how you feel about this. Because we mentioned this when we were in the chat on Pink Riot.
Yes.
When he was first announced as Green Lantern, there was a lot of people who were very upset about his skin tone. Mm-hmm. And I was not one of those people because from a design perspective, when I look at him, phenotypically, he looks very black. He don't look ambiguous. He looked like he might have two light-skinned black parents, but both his parents are black. And when I look at him, I don't see like the Michael Ealy of it all. Like for me, I understand, and I did grow up with a dark-skinned, John, but I also like that as an actor. He does look like a black man. Like there's no ambiguity about it. So I do think the casting is still good, especially because he can do the role. They weren't casting a pretty man just to appease the audience. Like they got somebody who can do the role, and I think that's important too.
So I want to get your thoughts too, Robert. I don't know how you feel one way or the other about all of the casting in general. I was very much in the camp of I need my dark green lantern. I need my blackest day, darkest skin tone Green Lantern. And for me, it was because of representation. Seeing somebody that is of dark skin and not having them be evil, not having them looked as the bad guy, somebody that is downtrodden, someone that doesn't have morals or ethics, like a common man. You know what I mean?
Bring Aldous Hodges' Thanagarian butt up in the show then.
Well, I mean, you could have. Well, he's on. What is he doing? He's doing
Ross. He
got time for a cameo to give us some dark skin chocolate representation.
Look, we can't.
And more arms.
No, we don't need one black man doing all of the work. Okay, let's spread the wealth. But to have somebody of that representation on a major network going throughout the globe, in theory, I wanted to see somebody that I could point that you could not ignore. I wanted to be able to say that the odds of a policeman pulling over somebody in a car that is dark skinned is not an immediate threat, that you actually have to visualize Green Lantern sitting in that fucking driver's seat for at least 0.2 seconds longer than you would give anybody else that's out here in the world.
Yeah,
that was my soapbox.
And you're right. I agree. I do agree. And I don't think anybody's critique of it was invalid, but I also think that it was still a good casting choice based off the fact that
and I say that Aaron is perfect. Going from Rebel Ridge, which is what everybody knew him for at the time, to getting this, we didn't have anything else to go on with him as far as acting goes. So this kind of was a shot in the dark for the public, for the viewers. I go back to Blerd's Eye View. You can watch me go on my rants. He'd like to go back to the captain and the crew. There was never a doubt that this man was going to excel in this role and be a standout in this role, for a myriad of reasons in my mind. But he, so far, and this is only episode 1, we haven't seen him break out of his procedural yet, because he's still brand new, and he's technically not even really a Green Lantern yet. He don't even have, by the end of it, look, if you haven't watched this first episode, go away. Come back. He doesn't even have the ring at the end of the episode, so he's still in that weird limbo by the time we're at the end of this episode. So he has more to build on. We've got 8 total episodes, I think this series is going to be. We've got 7 more episodes for John to show his black ass, and I can't fucking wait.
Now I need to see where his brothers are.
I wanted to pass it off to Robert before we get further into it. What are your thoughts
on the casting?
So
I think he's been Aaron Pierre is doing great. He's doing great in the role. And this whole thing of him being balanced off of Kyle Chandler as more of the hothead, and actually not even just hothead. Like he is like, I don't know if this is called like the what do you call it when you hit the middle age crisis? Hell or whatever.
The bucket? Yeah. The fucking bucket.
Yeah, the fucking bucket. And he, I don't know what happened between that 60 Minutes interview and now, but he is going through it. And so I think the casting all around has been good. It's just working. As far as specifically with Aaron Pierre, I like watching us as nerds, talk about stuff, it gets ugly at times. And the most recent example of it, I think, was the discussion of colorism when it came to the storm casting, right? It was like, I don't know what more needs to be done to satiate or whatever.
And it makes it hard for studios. I feel like I don't want to say it makes it hard. It gives studios an excuse to say, well, we can't make them happy anyways.
Yeah.
And I don't like that conversation.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we need to be happy with scraps. Like, when things matter, they matter. But she's not scraps. She's a talented actress. Mm-hmm. She is brown skin, dark skin. When I was a former makeup artist and had been since I was 16. I'm 31 now. And when I look at the shade range, mm-hmm. she fits in the category of dark.
Yeah.
But mm-hmm. she might not be deep dark. She don't look like she's from South Sudan, but she's a dark skinned woman. She's not. Unfortunately, the barometer we have is the paper bag, and she's not going to pass that test.
No.
And so
We'll come back. I don't want to lose Robert before, because we can go. We, Madam, me and you.
You saw me. I had to come back.
I saw the storm cloud brew, and I'm like, wait a minute, come back. So, Robert, if you were writing this show, wink. Is there a universe where we could possibly get some kind of an off-world procedural for Joe?
I mean, I'm being that's what I wanted. I'm sorry. Like, I know that the thing is, when I heard that there was a live-action Green Lantern story that was going to be done, and it was a murder mystery, that's where my mind immediately went, mm-hmm. right? And I do understand that the Lanterns are essentially their space cops. So, you could maybe they're in the 60-plus years that the Green Lantern has been done, they have investigated like crimes and murders, maybe here somewhere on Earth or somewhere in the sector. But my mind immediately goes to Far Sector because you have the blueprint there. This is my geeky rant before we get there. But I know in this day and age where money is losing, people feel that you have to do something that's apparently more familiar. You have to go a certain route. So like Jon Stewart is a character that a generation of people who grew up on Justice League and Justice League Unlimited know as the Green Lantern. And then before that, you have a legion of fans who are like, Hal Jordan is the greatest almighty, that's their Lantern. So also budget wise, that's the other thing that I had to look at after going on my geeky rant, is just like, budget wise, they're not going to give a first season of a TV series the budget that's needed to do a far flung, space mystery, murder mystery.
That's the shit that pisses me off. Because
and it's frustrating because if you look at that book, if you come with anything less than a huge budget to tell that story, then you do a disservice to Far Sector, because the backgrounds, oh my God, the backgrounds, if you read that series, are amazing. Jamal Campbell is like the stories are being told from the style of the buildings that are the style of clothing, the aliens, just whatever. So that would destroy the budget so rather than giving a Game of Thrones style budget to a show that I think
I was just about to say, we could get dragons and cousins having and doing the do with each other and stuff but we can't get in.
Okay. Yeah, and so that's the issue. So I was like, okay. So then when they brought this thing of like, okay, we're doing True Detective, where we're doing it with space cops, that's when I'm just like, okay, this is what we have. Let's roll with it, because I'm a huge fan of at least the first season of True Detective. I saw some of the one with Mahershala Ali, and I'm like, okay, this is a genre mashing that I am a huge fan of. But for me, I would have just said, go go hard, go big or go home with Far Sector, because you have the blueprint there for everything that I feel that they're kind of doing in this, and also growing the lore of this cinematic universe that you're trying to build. But like I said, that's just me with like this unlimited budget that I have in my imagination, but also I know how they are going to come at. I know Hollywood is going to Hollywood. They're not going to do everything that I want. As a fan.
So I also think what's problematic about the way that they approach shows like this is that we've gone away from having a 24 episode season where you have like a mid-season break and going back to it. And so because we have such long breaks in between these short seasons, people fall off and then they don't come back, or they don't like the ratings of what the first 6 episodes did but people haven't allowed the show time to grow and get word of mouth. Those 24 episodes were very important for word of mouth, especially with that mid-season break. People were talking about, oh, did you see Smallville? Oh yeah, Smallville is amazing. Yeah, the new the second half of season is about to come out, and they have the reruns that they show. You gotta watch the reruns when those come on, and blah 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 blah. That was integral to growing a show, and now we just throw shows away, and we don't give them the budget initially because everybody's afraid, and so they're dipping their toe into these franchises, especially in the comic book space, where they have these vast, colorful, vibrant worlds, and they bring it to TV and they desaturate everything. I'm not saying we needed to have, Ryan Reynolds' costume or anything like that, but everything's so desaturated, everything's so gray, and then they're wondering why not only are they not grabbing new fans, but the comic book fans lose interest.
Which is why we had the people bitching and moaning about him not having the bubble around him as he flew. Where's the actual ring? All of that bullshit. Talking about that and thinking about the way that you have different mediums that you're moving through, for me, it makes sense to have those mediums be the new way to get things kicked off, to prove a little bit of the viability with viewers. Having a comic book that's also a music video series, I think that is that would be a very smart way to show proof of concept and proof of life that goes beyond just showing people pretty pictures and a story with speech bubbles over them. Do you feel like that's something that you could move towards?
So as far as like the transmedia of it all?
Yeah.
I mean, specifically with lanterns, or just in general?
In general, I feel like there are a lot of ideas that are out here right now that are being pitched to different networks. Some of them obviously go all the way. Green Lantern is going to be a slam fucking dunk no matter what you do, to be honest. It's been around for so long. But you also have shows like The Beauty or Invincible, even, which were just strictly comics. But if you can figure out how to get somebody that is a musician, per se, or not per se, he is a musician, to take this show on tour across the country and have people flock to it and say, ooh, I really want to know more about this, or I agree, I like this book, I want to see this in a video, or series format. Does that seem like something that might like snowball or become more frequent in the future?
Yeah, I think that it is already, and I think it will continue to. I'm a huge fan of transmedia. Like you're getting the chance to tell the story about a specific IP in different mediums, and I think that's something that a lot of companies that deal with like fiction, IP in general, are trying their best to do. One of the things, like if we're speaking to specifically about DC Studios, if you remember that video that James Gunn did a couple of years ago, where he was announcing all of the the new series that they were doing. One of the things that he mentions in there that they've kind of backed off of, at least right now, is that these stories were going to be told through the stories of the DC studios of this new universe, through film, through TV, and through video games, right? And animation, right? So right now they have done film, they've done animation, and they've done live action TV. The only thing that we haven't seen is the video game side of it, tying into this like connected universe. So they're already doing that, I feel, to a certain extent. And I'm going to put a personal shout out for me here, is when I was writing video games for Blowfish Studios, I worked on an IP called Phantom Galaxies, and basically what it was a space opera mech action adventure, third-person shooter where you could use your mechs to just fight for like this intergalactic organization. It was pretty fun, really cool experience. But one of the things that we were doing is we had the video game, which was the main thing that we were doing. I wrote a 7-issue. Co-wrote the first 2 issues, but wrote the last 4 or 5 issues, comic book series that followed some of the characters from that universe. And in addition to that, we wrote several short stories that were set in universe. So that was like transmedia, like all over the place. So that way we're getting people to experience the universe through different mediums. So I do think that it's a good way to get people interested. Like, some people don't like, I say up and down, tell people up and down, like, if they feel that they're not getting what they want from a certain medium, like if you feel that you're not getting, like Star Trek specifically, if you feel like you ain't getting nothing, what you want from the TV shows, guess what? There are a bunch of books, right? But some people don't like to read books, right? So like, if you don't like to read books, hey, guess what? You can go play video games. Some people don't like to play video games. They continue to complain. Then you can go to the comic books. You can go to the TV shows. You can go to
the audio dramas that they have now too.
Yeah.
I think they're starting to circle back to the transmedia of it all too, because back in the day, you had the Darkstalker games at the arcade, and then you get to read the Darkstalkers comics, and then they had the Darkstalker. I don't know if anybody remembers the Darkstalker anime, but they had the Darkstalkers anime, and so you have this Capcom universe where they started doing crossovers, and then you had crossover games. So you have Marvel vs. Capcom, and the music involved. Like, in my head, I can still hear "I'm gonna take you for a ride."
Yep.
That's jam. But you had. And then fast forward to like the 90s, you enter Aaliyah. Aaliyah was doing anime, adding anime into her music videos. Fast forward now, we have people like Meg Thee Stallion. Even during COVID, Victoria Monet had a animation music video because they weren't filming. And so we know Meg Thee Stallion with the cinematography that she did for some of her songs and the storytelling in that. You have Freddie Gibbs, who put out a whole visual album. You have Beyonce's Lemonade, and even He Who Shall Not Be Named, Yay, had his beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Those forms of storytelling are coming back, and people see the value in the mixing of the media, especially freelancers specifically, and indie creators, because we need to figure out how we're going to grab as many people as possible. People who think like there's still a stigma behind mangas, like, oh, manga's for children. It's not.
Decidedly not for children.
Definitely not. Not at all. But I like that we're moving back into this space as where you see independent artists and musicians like Shabuzi, like Meg Thee Stallion, going the extra mile to create, and it's creating jobs too. Creators and indie authors and writers and illustrators that are working together to create the ecosystem, to make sure that if I get a client, I want to be able to at least direct my client to another indie. So that's what I'm hopeful for when it comes to like at least the indie space. It's more transmedia.
So,
I mean,
go ahead. No.
Well, no, and to the point, I think of like somebody like we write comics. For Joystick Angels, I know specifically they have like a soundtrack, for that. So it's like it to the point that you were making. You gotta find different ways to meet people, to meet them, halfway, with whatever IP that you're building, as an indie creator or as mainstream. Um, but yeah, but specifically with lanterns, I do think that, or with the DC's, whatever you call it, DCEU, whatever whatever the acronym is. I, I'm enjoying, what they've been building so far between Creature Commandos, which is animated, Superman. Peacemaker is kind of on that weird kind of nebulous place because it was there before they kind of transitioned it into this new stuff.
Peacemaker is like Deadpool to me. It just exists.
Yeah, and it's just like, and I think Lanterns to me is the first live action example of something they're doing, right? A TV show. So I put more weight behind this than Peacemaker as far as the importance of like how this needs to reflect like what they can do on TV. So I think there's a little bit more on its shoulders.
I think it's also important to have a base of people that are not afraid to try things and are not afraid to shirk the status quo. Because if you don't know, what is it? Is it David Lindelof? I think it's David Lindelof. Yep. He was the showrunner for the post-quel, the sequel to the Watchmen series.
Yeah.
He told very much the truth and the history of this country while keeping in line with the themes and the energy of that comic. If you can bring that into, for me, a very not so quaint and quiet and the hero always wins type of story in Lanterns, you have something special. And I think it's very important to do what a lot of people are doing and keep the haters quiet. There's a lot of people, I think there was an article or a post that somebody put up of the Snyderverse bros trying to review bomb Lanterns, and they spectacularly failed.
Review bombing is like the worst thing I've ever seen. Side note, I don't know if anybody watches Bleach, but yesterday's episode was the best anime episode out ever. It got a full 10 out of 10. It was beautiful. It was amazing. It had great character development for Orihime, the female, one of the female characters that we've never seen in the 20 years that the show has been out. And it got review bombed out of spite.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's because it's too easy. I this is my hill and I will die on it for the rest of my life. I do not care. People make it too easy for negativity to be so fucking loud, so loud. I really wish
the ratings and not the reviews, because if people really hated it, they wouldn't be watching it.
Which then, and to my point, I need people to be louder with their joy. You can say, holy, it takes two seconds for you to say you hate something. It also takes 2 seconds for you to say that you love something. You don't have to give a reason behind it. It's going to be your opinion. If people can be this negative and obtuse about shit, you can be just as positive and, bringing people to you that are seeking positivity. Hi. I think that is very, very important. I don't know shit about
Regine, girl.
I didn't know you were gonna start it. Oh wow! Oh, okay.
You need to watch it.
Let me give the Bleach fans their moment. I'm so sorry. This is no longer Lantern for like 5 minutes.
Okay.
Orihime earned her stripes, and we finally get to see the Kubo's vision without him being rushed.
He was sick when he wrote it.
A huge fan of Bleach. Didn't know the new season started. You've got your homework assignment apparently. I don't know a goddamn thing about Bleach. I think I've told my story about my Bleach interaction. I will not be repeating it here. Go watch the previous episode to find out.
Yeah, y'all. But they review bombed it, and it's so unfortunate. I was thinking about this earlier today. Is that like people will sit here and talk about I was thinking about the whole Jordan Woods just got married. Her dress was gorgeous, and all they could talk about was Kylie and her boyfriend showing up with a picnic shirt on. And they're like, she looked like a hoe, and he looked like he was going to a picnic in Central Park or something at this gorgeous wedding. This was, oh, she's stealing her shine. Okay, if y'all don't want her to lose her shine, then talk about her shine. Y'all will sit up here on the internet and talk about things that y'all hate all day, but you want somebody to pay you for you to say something that you actually enjoy.
I hate the internet one in this.
We're 6 episodes in, Regine. You're not that late, but
sorry, were you going to say something, Robert? I'm sorry.
No. I mean, I'm trying to. I can go on a rant about the state of the internet. I don't interact with. When I say interact, like go into a lot of the groups and read the threads. I like discourse, but at a certain point, it becomes less that. So I usually, talk with friends about stuff. I mean, we don't agree on everything, but it doesn't come to the point of like where, you cursing somebody's mama's out about like who can win in a fight, the Hulk or Green Lantern. Like it's like these are fictional characters, right? I think the other, and constructive criticism is a lost art.
Baby.
And that's the thing, like like being a critical thinkers is being critical thinkers is like,
it's not a lost art, it's a purposely thrown out art.
I think it's a combination of both. I think it's purposely thrown out, but I do think that there are a lot of people who don't know how to do it, and that can lead to another discussion about like how to create critical thinkers. You don't have to like everything, right?
For one, we all need to get off of Twitter. That is like,
I'm already gone.
I've been gone. I don't even know the amount of like bad negative comments I get, like don't equate to what some of my friends deal with when they're on Twitter, and I'm just like, why are you there?
Truly for the people that are in the chat that are still on Twitter, this is a genuine question. Why are you still there when you have so many other avenues that you can get better, honest, and not AI generated bot shit?
Yeah, and I see people screenshot some of the horrible things that are said on Twitter and bring them onto other posts. And I'm just like, it's not happening here.
Stop it. Leave it there. If you do not like it, do not take it with you and bring it to other places.
And to a certain degree, I understand it from a creative perspective, because Twitter was that place where artists got a lot of their following. It was very easy to go viral, but I don't need it that bad. Not at the expense of my mental health. I don't. And so I have not been on Twitter since 2020.
I can't remember when. I know it's been like 2 or 3 years for me. One of the things that I will say, in jumping on that point, is that, and I can tie this into like Green Lantern. One of the things that once I did the Green Lantern story that I kept being told is that you have to have a social media presence, right? You have to, and it was like I kept hearing that from like all across the board, and it's this thing of, you have to, in order to keep your mental sanity, even if it's for professional work or for personal enjoyment, you got to find that balance. You got to find the balance of like, and I'm not, I don't know if like doom scrolling is included in this, but then also being able to back away. And I think specifically for us, because we're geeks, we're nerds, we're blerds, we're bleaks, whatever you want to call it, to find a moment that when you're reading a 20 message thread where it's essentially turned into like a fight about like fictional characters, you got to back away, right? And so, because I think what that can do for your mental is that it can take you down a deep, dark, like hole that you can't come out of.
One of the things I did was, because I was doing that on Threads, not as much as like I would have if I was on Twitter, but I was commenting on things that were posted by people who weren't making the post in good faith. And so what I did to reduce my contact with that is I pushed Facebook, especially with all the AI stuff. I put Facebook and I put Threads in the very back of my phone because I'm the type of person who fidgets, and so I took I'll just open an app just to open an app, and I'll open it and close it, open and close it. Yep. So I wanted to remove the ease in which I was accessing Threads and Facebook, and that really did make a huge difference in how I interact. I go on there. I do. If I'm on Threads, it's for an intentional reason. I'm working. I'm connecting. I'm networking. Yeah. I'm making sure that I'm showing up for the people who showed up for me, and then I turn it off.
Yeah. Yeah. And also turn off those fucking notifications. You do.
I don't have notifications for.
Yeah. No, I'm saying to like the general audience. Like you don't need to. Whatever notification.
I use one for Instagram, but that's it.
Yeah.
I think the other part of it is I try to focus on those places, like this is from the professional side of things, where I am going to reap the most probably professionally. So like LinkedIn. Just like I try to, I can't go in there and say, oh God, I hated lanterns. And, because like some editor may look at this and say, okay, he is crazy, right? Nobody wants to see Robert's like treatise on why, Superman is like the best hero. And, that's not the thing. You have to know what the media, what you're trying to provide to that medium, especially if you're being professional or if you're trying to find work or if you're trying to connect with people. I don't know. Like I mentioned this all fair. Like I'm a hermit, I ain't got a problem with that. I don't. And I know some people have to be out there like that. I don't pop lock to sell comic books. I have no desire to do that. My goal is to get to the point of like Greg Rucka, somebody who barely makes any appearances on social media, and yet he is able to get consistent work. That's where I would love to be. But I know that other people they like to engage more with social media, and that's not a bad thing. I have just always been on the opposite side of things, when it comes to that. And when I continue to see the ugliness that pervades these social media networks, and once again tying it back to lanterns, when people were like losing their minds about like the end of the episode, and they were like, oh, it destroyed my childhood. I was just like, wait a minute, hold on. So if your childhood was that fragile, you might need to go and speak to somebody, right? So that's
the thing. And that's the other thing is that the people who feel like that part destroyed their childhood, those are people who definitely needed comics to escape, and so but they didn't know how to exit that world, whereas for a lot of us, we use media to escape, but we're not allowed to forget that we live in the real world. It's dangerous for us to forget that we live in the real world. So for these people who are like, oh my God, my childhood is over because Elmo is friends with Madonna. Like, these are the people who are losing their minds because their whole world is built around this one thing. They don't.
But what's crazy about that for me, Hal's died in the comics. Hal has died. This is nothing. This is not a shock to the system. What you did when Hal died, you kept reading. You kept reading the comic. This should not be a shock to your system. You should be used to this. This is not something where
these aren't people who read it. These are people who watched something a couple of times and they like how he looked.
But it also goes towards, are these people actually real?
Right. And that is where we're at. We're at a point now where you have to question, is there anybody typing,
right.
And is it just for the algorithm? Is it just for, whatever? I don't know. Like I personally, I have no, the three lanterns that I have like an allegiance to, will always be, Jessica Cruz, Sojourner Mullen, and John Stewart. I love the idea of the core, and everything. And I love that people enjoy Hal as much as they do. But I will say from a narrative perspective, and as for somebody who has seen True Detective, when they ended the episode like that, I was like, okay, so now we're doing this whole jumping from different time period to time period to tell this mystery, this murder mystery. And I
love that.
Yes.
Yeah. And I will say that was a gut punch when you see that image, right? But it wasn't to the point where I was just like, let me just quit the show and not move forward and then pass judgment on the other 7 episodes that are out there. I felt the first episode was very well paced. I felt the acting was on point, especially between Chandler and Pierre. I will say the part with the father and the apple. That was triggering.
Okay, that's what I wanted to go back. Yeah. That's what I wanted to go back to in the beginning of ADHD of it all. First of all, where his brother's at? Where's Daddy at? That apple, that was insane. And I think his brothers were also like, you and Dad are insane. Mm-hmm. They were definitely afraid of their dad, but no one reached for him to stop him from having the TV on either. Like, they didn't try to break his focus, which leads me to believe that they were also aware that their brother is just as insane as their dad, because they've been through this before. We done did this with him before.
I don't agree with the insanity.
I'm not going to say insane. I'm not going to call him insane.
Off kilter, 100%. Like this, that is absolutely outside the realm of normal. 1,000% outside of the realm of normal.
Bama is hilarious.
I think there's layers to it. I think I don't know who I was talking to about. My esthetician. While I was getting the facial in my cosplay, you dirty motherfuckers. I was talking to her about the time period that this all takes place. You have you have John being a 9, 10, 11-year-old kid watching Hal go on TV. That 10-year period is about the same amount of time that Hal has probably had this reign, maybe a little bit shorter. And then I look at Dad and I see him, and there's a part of me that thinks he thought he should have the ring. He knows that he's better than Hal, that he's more fearless and possibly more qualified for that job. But by a stroke of fucking luck, Hal got the ring instead. So I think this is John's father preparing him to, without question, be the next person to get this ring. By any means necessary.
I agree with that, but when you look at he has an older brother and he has a younger brother.
Right.
John was the one that his dad picked for this, though.
Here's the reason. They have fear.
I know that.
They fear their father. So
that's my point, is that when the brothers looked at Hal, looked at John and was like, you need to turn the TV off. Mm-hmm. Neither one of them, this is what I'm saying is funny to me. I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying what was funny to me is that I noticed that neither one of them jumped after him to take my brother would have grabbed the remote and said, I'm not going to get in trouble because of you. Yeah. My brother would have fought me for that remote. And me being, I'm actually John in this case, like growing up, I was the kid without fear. And so I know what it's like when your siblings don't care about your lack of fear. And that's what I was acknowledging. Like, that dynamic between the brothers was so important to me, because they showed fear of their father, but they also showed a slight fear of their brother. Like, they had enough to tell him that he needs to stop, but it did not go beyond that point. And I thought that was an interesting take.
I'm sorry. So one of the things, this is me like now getting obsessed and looking at the little, clues. And the trailer for like the upcoming weeks, one of the things that they show is, and they've introduced in previous trailers, are the Manhunters. There's a shot of, I think, John's mother holding a baby, and there is an alien changing into a manhunter. We only see its back, but like the design is reminiscent of that red, blue, and then like black, like I don't call them, what do you call them? Suspenders or whatever, like straps. Yeah. So in my mind, that combined with the first episode, and then also there's a little detail about the apple shooting scene, is that I think that when John was a baby, the Manhunters and the lanterns came into his life. That's just kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like I said, I could be completely wrong. So think of it like this, because when the dad came in and said, "Let's go outside," you notice that the bullets have been rising on the side of that garage over the years. So he has been shooting this apple off of his head since he was a child, since he was way younger. So that combined with this idea of like the lanterns presenting themselves, you know, to his mother, like if they felt that he was like the chosen one, then there's this thing of like they've been preparing him for this all of his life. And guess what the obstacle is in front of that? Hal Jordan. Now, not saying that this is directly adapting from a comic book. We have 60 plus years of continuity to pull from. That maybe this is their original take. But when I saw his mom holding a baby and I saw that shot of the Manhunter combined with what happened in the first episode, I was like, that's where my mind went. And then when you, like I said, that combined with the bullet hole. So John has probably been instilled with this idea that I am the next in line for this. In this universe, at least with this take on the material. And mind you, like we've looked at 20 plus years of the MCU, of them taking that material and making it its own. Nothing is similar to what has come before, right? So that's how I think that they're doing it versus going the original origin of how Jon Stewart got the ring, you know. And so they're taking it back to when he was a kid. At least that's what I believe that we're going to see. So I could be completely wrong. You know, that's what kind of theorizing.
No,
this stuff.
I agree with you.
Wrong. I think you're spot on.
When he said outside, he didn't say all three of you. He didn't say you.
Yep.
We know that he was talking to John because the other kids didn't even inch to move. There was no question of who he was talking to. It was John. And like you said, with the bullets, they've been doing this a minute and he ain't missed yet.
Nope.
So I agree. I agree with all of that.
I'm very curious to see what they're going to do with his mother, because I'm mostly because of what you did in your book. I'm extremely curious of what they're going to do with his mother. Whether they actually go the activist route, whether they go, she's just nobody to fuck with. Like she's your get your ass in here before the street lights come on. Everything that is typical Black mother.
Or is she going to play the nurturing side to counter
the
dad's
aggression? I don't see that at all. There's no way. In that house, you think she would have let her husband shoot at her baby and not been on the same time? Like, they're a team.
It doesn't mean that they're not on the same time. It's just that sometimes one parent will fill a gap that's missing. And so I don't think he was raised without comfort.
I hope that there is.
Because my dad put me at
I hope there's a deep dive of what nurturing and security actually looks like. It's not always, somebody said mom, pa, can't. It's not always that dynamic, especially in the Black household. Sometimes it is get your ass up and keep moving. This is the way that I love you and I take care of you in order to know that when I'm gone, you can go and thrive and flourish. I can't afford to be soft with you.
So it's not even like necessarily that she has to be soft. Like, my mom was my disciplinarian, but she was also the one I went to when I needed a hug. My dad has never spanked me a day in my life, but he was the authoritarian parent. I talked back in the dead of winter while we were living in Minnesota, and he put up his military tent. He had just retired. He put up his military tent, put it in the garage, and he said, you could talk back outside to the wall, and left me out there. I forgot how long I was out there, but my mom had moved to Florida already ahead of us. And when my brother called and told her, she was pissed. But she also, if she had been there, she'd have slapped me. So it's like, which one are you? But so what I'm saying, just because she has a more nurturing side, there still needs to, I hope that there's a side of her that says, baby, you know how your daddy is. because that's what my mom would do. She was, like I said, she was my parkour instructor when it came to an ass whooping, but she also was the parent that gave out the hugs.
Yeah.
So Todoroki, I don't think it's that bad. I don't think he's
no.
That's wild.
Hold on.
That's wild.
Because what he does know nurturing. He does know how to foster growth, because we saw that with him teaching the little kid how to throw the football. He knows how to show patience.
Yeah.
With somebody. So I think that's. I'm very curious. What's going to happen tonight. I'm so sorry. We gotta go, because it is 9 p.m. on the goddamn dot, and I told y'all I would have y'all out of here. So with that said, I'm gonna do something very quick. If y'all don't mind just hanging out in the back for just like 2 seconds, we're gonna get through these books and these Kickstarters real quick. All right, hold on. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. Okay, cool. All right, for tonight, we have 2 books. I'm going to see if I can share my screen, because I'm an adult and I know how to do these things correctly. And voila. All right, we have Lion's Gang, Masters of Mali. Let me see if I can bring this up on the stream. Now, bring it up. There we go.